From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Tuesday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, and we should get plenty of sunshine for much of the day today if you have any plans to celebrate, but you do need the rain gear. Our Storm Track 8 team is tracking some chances of rain throughout the day, isolated showers, and it'll become more widespread later this afternoon into the evening. And not only that, but the winds are going to be pretty breezy for the latter half of the day. Wind gusts up to 35 to 40 miles per hour at times. It is going to be nice, though, for the most part, highs in the mid-50s.
We mourn the loss of beautiful souls today and pray for those who are continuing to fight for their lives.
Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer spoke this morning following breaking news out of Michigan State University. Police now say 3 students are dead and 5 more are critically injured after a shooting on campus there. Investigators are also naming the suspect. News 8's Hannah Mordeau followed all of the developments this morning.
Police say the shooter is 43-year-old Anthony McCrae. A caller's tip led officers to him, then he shot and killed himself off campus. Doctors say the 5 other students who were shot are all still in critical condition this morning at a local hospital. One had surgery overnight. Okay, so let's take a look at a map of the campus. Police say the shooting started last night just before 8:30 at Berkey Hall. 2 people were killed there. Then almost immediately after, about 3 blocks away, 3 buildings away, there was another shooting at the Union. 1 other student was shot there and died. A total of 8 students were shot last night. The shooting prompted an hours-long shelter-in-place order as hundreds of officers from multiple agencies went to the campus to search for the gunman. That ended this morning when police announced he had been found dead. Now, they want to know why this happened.
You never think it's going to happen until it actually happens. You know, you think you're safe. And then we all thought we were safe on the second floor in the cafeteria, but obviously we weren't. We were told to evacuate. We all ran out. It was terrifying. It was pretty scary.
Police say they don't have a motive yet. They're still trying to figure out again why this happened. As police investigate, you heard their students trying to process this situation that they say certainly is surreal. And this morning, the Gun Violence Archive says that this is the 67th mass shooting this year. All classes and activities at Michigan State University have been canceled for the next 48 hours. And police have told students not to come to campus today. The White House says additional federal law enforcement is now being deployed to Michigan to help. Hannah Mordeau, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
And other breaking news this morning, Nikki Haley is officially running for president in 2024. She is now the first major Republican challenger to former President Trump, her former boss. Haley made the announcement in a new campaign video. She initially said 2 years ago she would not run against Trump, having served as his UN ambassador. She cited the country's economic troubles and the need for generational change as reasons why she's running now. Haley also served as governor of South Carolina. She's set to formally launch her campaign tomorrow in Charleston. And also breaking news this morning, a woman is dead as a call for medical help ends with a grim realization. Police say officers went to 12th and Berwick on a report of a woman in a front yard suffering some kind of medical problem. But once at the hospital, it became clear she had been shot. It happened just before 10 last night in Indianapolis. Police have not released any other information about the victim or a potential suspect. And IMPD says a boy is in critical condition after a shooting on the Far East Side. It happened after 7:30 last night on Shellbark Drive, just north of I-70. The boy's name and age have not been released by police. They do say there is a person of interest in custody, but have not released that identity. And from I-Team 8 this morning, today marks 6 years since authorities found the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German in Delphi. Richard Allen is charged with the murders, but his arrest has not answered all questions surrounding the case.
I would love to know more of the evidence against Richard Allen, and that will be something that undoubtedly will come up as the trial starts and goes on. The prosecution will make a case, but one thing I'm very curious about is the narrative of what the prosecution thinks happened in this case to Libby and Abby, what Richard Allen's motivations were more of details of like what exactly he was doing that day, just to sort of fill in the story of what happened to these two girls.
And you just heard from Anya Kane with the Murder Sheet podcast, part of the Voice Behind a podcast that's been following this case extremely closely. The Carroll County prosecutor did file paperwork this week asking the judge to seal all evidence in the case to keep it from public view. The prosecutor is also asking the judge to deny bail for Allen. And today, U.S. lawmakers will sit through classified briefings on the unidentified objects recently shot down over U.S. airspace. IT Mate sat down with Indiana Congressman Andre Carson ahead of the briefings. Carson serves on the House Intelligence Committee. He says the Pentagon is still working to determine exactly what the most recent objects were. Carson tells IT Mate there are several unknowns about where the objects came from. He says the most recent unidentified objects have not been confirmed to be connected to China, but that the intelligence community is looking into it.
If this object is in fact from the CCP, it is certainly a provocative action, a provocation of sorts that we will have to deal with at the appropriate time.
Carson says he thinks the American people will hear more directly from President Biden once intelligence officials are able to examine the debris. A measure aimed at improving mental health care is halfway through the State House. The Senate passed it yesterday. The bill includes an expansion of services through the state's 988 mental health crisis hotline. It would also provide counselors as first responders for people who are emotionally distressed. Republican Senator Michael Kreider first authored the bill and now has several co-authors from either side of the aisle. Funding is a key hurdle for the bill as it heads to the House. A new national study points out a failure of follow-ups in mental health. It finds many of the children taken to an emergency room for a mental health crisis do not get timely follow-up care. The data is in the Journal of the American Academy of Pediatrics. Researchers studied more than 28,000 6 to 17-year-olds who visited the ER for mental health issues and found 45% did not have a follow-up visit within 30 days. And in your health spotlight, Wish TV is focusing on racial disparities in the healthcare system. 4 local hospital leaders say it's a public health crisis. They were a part of our Health Spotlight Town Hall special last night and say it's an issue that needs addressed. The panel unveiled data detailing patient information like race, ethnicity, and language. The health leaders say the data provides information on where health systems are now and where they want to go.
Set of interventions that make a difference. I think that's what all of us are seeing this data begin to tell us is where do we need to build interventions, and ideally, as years go on, are the interventions effective?
The panel says everyone needs to continue communicating to create change. You can watch the full town hall on wishtv.com right now. New data indicates changes to school nutrition standards have helped reduce obesity in children. Lawmakers are considering more changes to school meals. The JAMA Pediatrics study, out new this week, looked at more than 14,000 children and teenagers from 2005 to 2020. Researchers found an overall decrease in body mass index after standards changed to require more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and low-fat dairy products. The researchers noted the improvements happen across all ages and income levels. Lawmakers have been considering adjusting the guidelines again. A Colorado Springs nightclub is announcing plans to reopen this fall, nearly 1 year after a deadly mass shooting. As we've reported, Club Q is where authorities say a gunman killed 5 people and injured 19 others in November. The venue posted its plans on Instagram yesterday, saying it has always intended to return as a safe space. An exact date isn't set yet, but management says it hopes to reopen sometime in the fall with enhanced security measures and a permanent tribute to those who were killed. The future of Alex Murdaugh's trial could be in jeopardy. He's the former South Carolina lawyer accused of killing his wife and son. The judge dismissed 2 jurors yesterday after they tested positive for COVID. That leaves just 3 alternates as the trial enters its 4th week. Both sides are now suggesting a delay in case the virus spreads to the jury and others in court. The judge instead moved to proceed and suggests everyone mask up. That decision made way for the release of new body camera video from the night of the killings. It shows officers examining the bodies of both Murdaugh's wife and son, confirming both are dead. Murdaugh faces 30 years to life in prison if convicted. Former child actor Austin Majors has died. His first and most notable role was as Theo, the son of Detective Andy Sipowicz on NYPD Blue. He also appeared on ER, NCIS, and Desperate Housewives. Majors was 27. And it is final. The search for the next head coach for the Indianapolis Colts is over. The Colts hired Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator Shane Steichen officially to lead the team for the 2023 season and beyond. The team tweeted just after 9 o'clock this morning stating, "We got our guy." Steichen emerged as a favorite on Sunday when ESPN senior NFL insider Adam Schefter tweeted that the Colts were targeting him and had informed other coaching candidates that they were moving in a different direction. Steichen and the Colts were not allowed to even begin contract talks until after the Super Bowl was played, and the talks did begin yesterday after Steichen arrived in Indianapolis. Jim Irsay, the team owner, of course, and his staff interviewed at least 13 candidates, including Steichen and interim head coach Jeff Saturday, beginning in early January. Steichen was an AP Assistant Coach of the Year finalist this year after leading the Eagles to the third best offense in the league. And the Pacers are free-falling into their final game before the All-Star break. The Jazz came to Indianapolis last night and head back to Utah with a 123-117 win. Miles Turner sat last night out with a back injury and watched as the Jazz rode hot fourth quarter shooting to victory. The Pacers have now lost 14 of their last 16 with tomorrow night's game against Chicago, the last for 9 days. After that, a week of rest, then the season resumes on the 23rd. Boilers down, Hoosiers up in the new men's college basketball rankings. A loss to Northwestern drops Purdue down to number 3 in both major polls. The Hoosiers are riding their hot streak to number 14, up several spots from last week. Alabama is now number 1 for the first time in 20 years. The changes mean the top-ranked team in Indiana is in the women's game, and another win over a ranked team could help boost the IU women to the top spot. Mackenzie Holmes scored a career-high 33 points in last night's win over 13th-ranked Ohio State. Holmes is now Indiana's 9th highest all-time scorer. IU is now on a 12-game winning streak, the longest under head coach Terry Morin. Indiana hosts Michigan next on Thursday. Amy Poehler and Tina Fey are going on tour. The longtime friends announced their plans yesterday, saying it's a celebration of 30 years of friendship. It's called Restless Leg Tour, and it kicks off in Washington, D.C. in April. It's also scheduled to make stops in Chicago, Boston, and Atlantic City. Ticket pre-sales start tomorrow. General sales begin Friday. And to business headlines, it's the Consumer Price Index, what we pay for groceries, gas, and housing, expected to be released today. Economists expect that the CPI will show a 0.4% increase in January, which would translate into 6.2% annual growth. However, there's some indication the number could be even higher. Natural gas prices fell to a 25-month low on Monday, falling as much as 5%. This is the milder than expected winter rolls in. The fall came despite news that a key LNG export hub in Texas looks to restart operations. Scientists will begin testing the first vaccines for birds in years. Concerns about the avian flu strain currently circulating have risen in recent weeks after it became evident that it spread from birds to several mammals, including otters and foxes. 58 million birds had to be killed last year due to the bird flu, sending prices of eggs soaring. And this was the first Super Bowl played in a state with legal sports betting. FanDuel said it was taking 50,000 bets per second at its peak. DraftKings paid out $2.68 million to one bettor on the Chiefs' win. According to a new survey by Yellow Octopus, 43% of couples have decided to skip giving presents on Valentine's Day due to inflation, and searches for Valentine's Day gifts are down 56% this year. The study further found that 61% of respondents that were in a relationship and said they weren't buying a Valentine's gift this year also stated they would break up with their partner if they didn't receive one. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcasts.